My name is Suzanne Shoda. I am a BAIS, was a BAIS major. I'm an alumni. I have, it took me a little bit to get through my degree at UTD. I worked full-time as the secretary for the advising staff as I was getting my degree in Interdisciplinary Studies. So it was not the normal path. I graduated from a high school in Detroit, Michigan back in the day. I went to Michigan State for 2 years right out of high school. So I was 17 when I started at Michigan State. I don't recommend that path for everyone. It didn't exactly work for me too well. I did then, after several things happening in my life, I ended up quitting Michigan State. And then eventually I found quality control. I was a floor leader for a plastics shop in Livonia, Michigan, where I worked several years and worked my way up and ended up in quality control, and then started a program at a little community college in Livonia called Schoolcraft College. Got my associate degree in quality management, and then ended up moving and being a quality manager of a robotics shop out in Madison Heights, Michigan. So I did that for several years, and my husband got a job here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area from working in construction. So we moved out here. So we packed everything up and moved out here, and I ended up getting a position at a manufacturing facility in Carrollton that made copper tubing parts. So I was quality control for that. So I worked in manufacturing for a good 20 years before we started a family. So we have twins that are now 24 years old. And I ended up working, quitting the job because I wasn't getting any sleep. I would, my husband and I tag teamed the twins. So I would work night shift and come home at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he would go to work, and then it would be my turn to take care of the twins. So we did that for maybe a year before I was like, well, wait a minute, I'm not getting enough sleep. Because my sleep pattern would be I'd get a little bit of sleep when he'd get home from work at like 5 o'clock. And then I'd sleep a little bit, and then I'd get up and go to work at 9:30. So it was quite a challenge, but we didn't want to put the kids in daycare because they were preemies when they were born and all of that. So we took care of them, and then I ended up working Walmart in the evenings as a cashier, and then I ended up moving up to a customer service manager, and started volunteering at the elementary school with the kids, and ended up getting a job in special education as a paraprofessional with Plano ISD. And as the kids went through Plano ISD, I ended up working Plano ISD for 11 years. And then the insurance ended up being more than what I was paying. So I ended up looking for other positions and found my way here to UTD as a secretary in the Interdisciplinary Studies department, and ended up then working here and going to school at the same time. So the majority of my life I've worked 2 jobs, or worked 1 job and did school part-time. My concentration, I had, because I was in quality control, I had a lot of math. So I had one foundation, in NSM, and then my second foundation was in American Studies, and my concentration was in business communication. It's fantastic the amount of things that I learned in the classes that I took here, and learning the classes that are in American Studies, those were my favorite classes of all the classes I took, because the American Studies classes not only gives you that foundational, oh, this is what America is, and this is what the people are in America, but it also helps you understand, because I took some interdisciplinary studies classes too, it helps you understand more of the world. So yeah, I was the person that made the copies of all of the concentrations to give out to the new students so they could see what was actually being offered, and you know, so that they could look at all of the classes and say, yeah, I want that class and that class, and then they could page through the concentrations and find the one thing that fits all of that checks off all of their boxes, right? And so business communication for me was something that would allow me to not only use what I'm learning in classes for the job that I was in then, but also to use it in the future. So being able to pull on some of those things that I learned in the communications classes and the business classes. I mean, I took a business class called Dispute Resolution.
Yes.
Oh, it was an awesome class. It was one of the best classes I ever took. And the small group camaraderie that we had in that class was just amazing. You know, working for Interdisciplinary Studies, I was able to, because I worked right in the main hallway, right? So I was able to see the faculty on a daily basis. So it was very interesting to not only see the faculty before I took any classes, right? And knew, you know, who they were and what they did and all that. And then to be in their classes and actually see what they teach and how they teach it, it was just phenomenal for me. But being able to be in the classroom with some of the students that I would actually, you know, make appointments for and help them out with their scheduling and all of that was really cool. And because I had to take some of the core classes, I was in classes with freshmen. And the acceptance for all of the students at UTD I know I was not the traditional student, and it was just amazing to be able to work with some of the students, because you have small group projects, and the acceptance from everybody was just amazing to me. You know, I can't imagine, you know, being in a classroom with my mom sitting next to me, right? UTD is in and of itself its own entity, and people are very accepting of all of the different students that we have here. I tell you, in the very beginning when I first started, everything was on paper. Totally different now. So much easier now. Once they transition to doing everything digital, it's super easy. You just have to get the time right, and when you put in your classes and everything, but it's super easy. And I would still be going, I started a master's program, but ended up stopping it only because we have property and we like going out on the weekends, and it doesn't, we don't have internet out there, and we barely have phones, so it's just not easy to do homework and stuff on the weekends. So I needed a little bit of a break. That was always in the background, that yeah, I always wanted to kind of finish up. Especially working in Plano ISD, I worked in the middle school for quite a while. And it was interesting to see how they set up students to succeed and to go into higher education even at that level. Whereas when I was at the Detroit Public High School, they didn't do that. There was no push to get students to go to college at that point in time. I had very supportive parents. I come from a family of 7, so I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. So it was a big family, and having support from your parents is a big thing to be able to get through college. My way was a little bit different, but still. Yeah, by the time I finished, because I finished in 2022.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So they were out of school.
So they had already finished their high school and both were in college. My son finished his degree like 1 semester before I did.
Really? Where did he go?
So he went here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's electrical engineering and got his degree in 3.5 years.
That is so cool, though.
And my daughter is down in College Station and working on their last class at College Station. So.
And what is their major?
Biomedical sciences.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Okay.
So, I had a lot of support from my husband. He was very supportive of me going back for the degree, and it's funny too because he would share some of the things. If I had to watch something on TV for one of my classes, he would sit there and watch it with me. And so there was that camaraderie between us that he could be part of the educational experience also. But I also had that with my kids to where they went through all of this in high school. And because I had to go back and do some of the core classes because I didn't take them from Michigan State, because it was totally different back then, they were able to then, I'm like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with this. And they would actually be helping me. So it turns the tables on, because I helped them all through their, schooling and trying to do things. And so it was a very neat experience. I know when they were younger, I was working 2 jobs. And so the idea was, my husband and I always we would always do things as a family, but if one of us was working, then the other one was taking care of the kids. And so I was able to work the 2 jobs only because I had that support at home. Once the kids got older, then they were helping with the chores around the house and helping with making dinner and helping with all of that. And so they're more ready for being on their own because they knew how to cook things and they knew how to do laundry. And it's funny as an academic advisor where sometimes you have students that have never had to do their own laundry. And that is a foreign idea for me, but still it's pretty neat that we can actually share some of our experiences with them. So it's pretty cool. So my transition to academic advising was very easy. And I say that because when I was in interdisciplinary studies, I not only had the ability to be in the classes with the students and see what they're actually experiencing in the classroom because I was right there with them, which was super weird sometimes. But I also was able to learn what advisors do and how advisors help students along the way. And I truly believe that my journey would have been different if I had had an academic advisor because they didn't have them back then. So there wasn't anyone that said, this is what you need to take for your degree, And maybe this would be better because this is what you're more interested in, right? With the Interdisciplinary Studies degree, you have that ability to tailor your degree to take the classes that interest you to get you to your end game, which is getting a job once you get out of school. I work currently in Bass School as an academic advisor for ATech and animation and games majors.
Oh,
so now we have 2 majors in the ATech degree. Sorry, it's ATech degree and animation and games major now. There's 2 of them. 1,600 students in animation and games and ATech. And so the ATech degree has 3 different concentrations. You have a generalist, CMS, and an EMA. But animation and games used to be a sub-plan for ATech, and now it's branched off to its own major. So we have a big influx of students coming in for the animation and games major. The time commitment is a lot, but if I were to know ahead of time that getting A's in every class was not a necessary thing, I would have liked to have somebody tell me, hey, slow down, enjoy, and get the most of what you can get out of the classes that you're taking. And I think because I went from 2018 to 2020, 2022 non-stop, taking 2 classes every term, including summers, granted I had a little bit of a catch-up to do, but even still, having somebody tell me to slow down and relish what you have would be helpful, definitely. Enjoy the classes because there's a lot to be learned from the classes that you're taking, and just enjoy and learn because that's why you're here.